it's not something that I've ever said. This is a appropriate time, just to say that. But it's not something that I would teach in the format, let's say, of my YouTube channel, because as I said, it's something very deep. Uh, and also it's something that I believe happens when it's the right time. Someone or something that has impacted them. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you. Okay. Oh, yes.
See? Okay, great.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
It's night there.
Yeah, a little late, 10 p.m. Yeah,
10 p.m.
it's morning there, no?
Yeah, here it's yes, morning. It's almost
Mm.
midday.
Okay, great.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's your room.
Uh, we just moved to a new place because we actually live in essentially a jungle in the Philippines, in the mountains here. But we've moved to the city because my wife will give birth soon, so we found a place in the city temporarily. Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How many months?
Uh, uh, 2 months, but we think maybe it will come sooner. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you said you were in the jungle. Now you are at the city.
Yeah, the Philippines province, which is very, very jungly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm at the jungle
Yeah.
too. I don't know if you can see it. No, I don't think so. Here's my light. I am 25 kilometers of the closest city.
Okay.
No, look, I'd like to make this just a chat, a conversation, but I was just thinking, reflecting about the possibility of putting this video on YouTube just because it's true that you have this channel with 300,000 people. And I think this is the biggest channel in the world about Gnosis, isn't it?
Yes. With Gnostic themes. Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't say it's 100% Gnosis because you could say that it is in a way it is directed towards more people, not
Uh-huh.
just people who would traditionally go into a Gnostic group, go into the chambers and really have the full commitment, but it it has other other flavors, other tones and aspects for, I think, humanity in general, rather than just the
Sure.
traditional way. I think that I think that if it was the tr done in the most traditional sense, maybe it wouldn't have as big of a following as it did. But then also I do believe that, and it's sort of my message for Gnostic instructors and missionaries too, that Gnosis can be taught in a way that is uh, not sugar-coated, but not so militant, but in a way that
Sure.
everyone can understand too, and
Sure.
understand the essence. Yeah, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, no, this is the point. Because look, when I found your channel, it was Gabriel Arienti. He's a missionary in Romania. He told me about your channel, and I was very happy in this moment because I felt myself like with a representation on the internet. Because I was worried, I was seeing in the internet some people attacking the Gnosis, talking about something they don't know, and I was like,
Right.
we don't have anyone representing the Gnosis like it is. And when Gabriel Ariente told me about your channel, I was like very happy because I saw it. What you teach is not like you said, it's not like the root knowledge, but it's for
Mhm.
a wider public. And it was perfect. Look, I really watched your video about some videos, parts of the videos, but this one about the alchemy for me it
Mhm.
was very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. I think it must have had a great result. And it was yesterday with Gabriel, and I asked him, look, do you have any questions for Gene? And
Mhm.
she said, no, look, there are some Romanians here that watch a lot his channel, and they must have some questions for him. And he sent me 7 questions and
Okay.
a commentary. And look,
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the commentary. It was very nice. Look, I'm going to
Yeah.
read you. It's
Okay.
not a question, but just to let him know that thanks to him, there is someone that practices alchemy in peace with herself, and that he was an important part of her spiritual path and her husband's. So that's it. That's why
Very
I'm
nice. Yeah.
really happy to just to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the kind words and yeah, I appreciate it because of course I think let's say the karma of reaching so many people, of course you get all the positive and you also get the criticisms and everything, not just from the public, but also from, you know, some Gnostics too. Gnostics
Oh,
have
really?
ego too, of course, right? So not so much. It's usually a lot more constructive, but
Okay.
yeah, it's good. It's refreshing to hear some positive feedback.
Okay.
And that's the main, I think the main goal. And at times when I have, because I've only been doing that online work for 3 years now. I'm moving more into traditional in-person teaching again, like Gnosis.
Mhm.
Um, but that's the main point of the channel, to guide people into the right direction. Might not necessarily have the most advanced and in-depth of everything, but to just give the essence and show people, let people feel the light and what is real, what is the true path of everything. At times when I have, you know, maybe doubted certain things that I'm doing or something, I did have, I'll let's say, one experience in the astral, which was, or two experiences I'll share, which is it's after kind of basically asking, is this really helping people? Is it really putting people on the path? And there were two experiences I had, which was being in a temple or a big church, and there were hundreds of people all coming in, wanting to hear things and wanting knowledge. And I'm basically telling them, you know, to go this way, go that way, and pointing them the direction, and they feel happy. I've had a few, there are a few other quite touching experiences. But another one is also sort of herding sheep too. And there's this, it sounds simple, but the experience was very positive and yeah, I just got the understanding that it is helping people. And yeah, I'm always happy to hear when people have uh, seen the videos and then some months later they're, you know, they're really, their life has really changed and or they're in a Gnostic group or, you know, they've been guided some way somehow. So it shows that uh, my own being at least is helping somewhere in the puzzle piece of this modern day of humanity, which is, you know, we as Gnostics also have to evolve to as well, right?
Some people maybe can keep themselves in a superficial part of the teaching, but surely some people know this through you and started a real path.
Yeah, yeah. You mean people who have gone through to groups?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
sure.
there's a good number, so which I'm very happy about. Yeah, yeah.
Sure. Look, one of the most happy things that happens to me, it's real. When I don't know, when I am at the street or on the internet, and I just find someone who read the Perfect Matrimony as me and like it. For me,
Yeah,
it's incredible. It's like a miracle.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So look, let's start like this. How was your motivation to start the channel?
It was quite interesting actually. Um, I've always been, and it's more of a personal thing, always been very interested in astral projection as a practice, as a reality. Um, and one day I stumbled upon the astral projection Reddit online, the forum
Ah,
on
okay.
a subreddit. which had about 200,000 members at the time. So I looked at that and I'm quite surprised, like, wow, at least my understanding of astral projection is from, the Gnostic understanding, the
Yeah.
implication of awakened consciousness. But when I saw it online with 200,000 members, it was really a mess. People didn't understand it. There was a lot of fear and a lot of confusion. And so I thought, let's see what happens if I, answer some questions, basically from the Gnostic perspective too, and my own experience. So I started answering questions there, and the feedback was really positive. They really had an impact on a lot of people. So over time, people kept asking more questions. So then I wrote an article. Uh, People loved that. They said I should write a book. So I wrote a book on it, basically based on all of their questions. And then uh, even more questions, of course, after the book. And so I go to make YouTube videos. Again, there's always more questions, right? So it's inevitable that I lead them down the rabbit hole of gnosis, of going deeper and deeper into, everything, the three factors, the fundamental teachings, the transmutation. And that was I think a journey for me uh, as well, of course, to usually, right, in Gnosis, we don't really give everything so publicly. But I
Yeah.
had my own process and meditation for that. And yeah, so that's
And
how it
show your
happened.
face, isn't it?
And to
Because
show
the
my face,
first
yes.
videos was I saw there wasn't your face, wasn't, and then you started.
Yes, the first video that I showed my face, which I haven't for a while, but the first one I did was for the White Tantra one specifically, because that was such I felt in my being, in my heart to teach that and to give it. And it took me a lot of meditation and deliberation as to how really what is the best way to do it. And I just felt this calling, even though I had said in previous videos about I've talked about why I don't show my face and everything, but for that specific video, I really felt that it had to be a person with the body language, everything
Openly.
as part of the expression to give that teaching. So yeah, and it's had a lot of positive comments. So yeah, I'm
Yes,
quite happy with
I
it.
like it.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yes, and these articles, the part of the articles, when was it? Like 3, 4 years ago?
Yes, yeah, maybe 3.5 years ago, around that time. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
And look, how was it? How did you know Gnosis? How was it? You started you have a family. Your family is Gnostic, or you started by the books?
No, when I was 18, I dropped out of college and everything and had my own sort of personal journey of spiritual awakening, astral projection, which I later understand is uh, very much connected to my past lives. But I had about 2 years doing my own sort of spiritual inquiries. And then in university, I went back. So I dropped out of university studying computer science. 2 years later, I went back to study philosophy, which is a huge change.
Philosophy.
So, yeah, so you
You
can really
studied
see.
complete the complete course.
Yeah, that was my degree. But I first dropped
Ah,
out of
look.
computer science. That's
Uh-huh.
something that my family told me I should do because I'm very good at it, can make a lot of money, but I had to just get rid of it all. I spent 2 years finding myself,
Uh-huh.
all of that. So
It's
while
sorry telling you, I'm a philosopher too by
oh,
formation.
great.
Yes, I have a
Great.
degree and a master. Yes.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Um, so yeah, while in the first year, a friend knew that I was quite spiritual and interested in those kind of topics, and he saw a poster on Gnosis, and a local group that was starting. So he gave it me, and I went there. So that's when I was 20, and it
Mhm.
was a Mexican guy doing it. He was doing his PhD at the
Sorry,
time in the UK. Yeah.
sorry. Where was it? Where you
So
were?
this is all happening in Manchester in the UK, but he's
Ah,
doing his
okay,
PhD. He's from Mexico, but he's doing it in the UK. Yeah,
okay. And you were 20, but
and
you
yes,
were you studying philosophy yet?
yes, I just started
Ah, okay,
started the first year. Yeah.
okay.
Um, so yeah, and that's a group that I uh, Lita Lantes started, or
Mm-hmm.
one of the branches that she started.
Ajiakak,
So
isn't it?
uh,
Ajiak.
it's called no, it's I think another one, like a smaller one. It's called Iglisau.
Iglisau. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Iglisau, I think I know, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a lot smaller than the one that you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I stayed there for around 5 years. I think 4 years maybe. Yeah, I went to the second chamber and all of that. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I wasn't anything like I am today. I was completely silent and completely mind blown for many years. I didn't think that I would be teaching Gnosis or anything like that when I'm older because everything just overwhelmed me. So I was just a very quiet student, always listening and taking it all in for all that time. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice. So until you're 25, more or less.
Yes, yes. He was going back to Mexico. I was actually going to China to teach over there English. So yeah, we just naturally, went apart. Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you now?
31. Yeah.
31.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Since then, 25 years old from now, what did you do?
In terms of my life or in terms of Gnosis, would you
Of
say,
Gnosis,
or
let's say of Gnosis or life,
Gnosis?
doesn't matter. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. This path and Gnosis is uh very difficult, as you know, or at least for anyone who's really, doing it, or at least if our karma is quite heavy, or however you want to put it. Um, I think after 5 years, I think that I had taken a very deep fascination with Gnosis. And I think I felt that the group was too much for me personally. I
Too
never tell
much?
anyone. I never tell anyone to maybe leave a group or anything like that. But personally, I just wanted to go deep into meditation myself. I felt this personal calling to do that. I think a lot of me felt quite attached to the group, which is not a bad thing, of course. Um, but I really felt this personal calling, and uh, especially considering I was moving to China, and then afterwards I had moved to Korea, and then I moved to Canada. I traveled quite a lot. So I really kind of took this time to really commit to deep meditation and try my best to know Gnosis as much as I can, right? Uh, Rather than, of course, the lectures, the studying, the intellectual center, but really to move everything much more deeper. And that's what I had tried my best to do. And yeah, and hopefully that has resonated and reflected in, the videos that I've made.
Sure.
So yeah, today uh, I'm making more of a turn into starting a group. Now we have one starting in a couple of months in person, starting in the Philippines. I think it's the first Gnostic group here in this country, and generally, on this side of the world, one of the first. So it's going to be really interesting. Yeah.
Incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. And why do you travel so much? China, Korea, why all of that? Work for work?
Yeah. Uh, for work, and just felt also this calling to travel. My partner is also an English teacher, so it's just something that we really wanted to do, to get out. I had lived in the UK my whole life. We wanted to just we had a calling to go to the east. So yeah, that's
You just
just
felt and went.
yes, yeah, not
And
so much
until
thing. Yeah.
and until now you teach English. You're a teacher.
No, no. When COVID happened, I was in China at the time that COVID happened. So I wasn't living too far from Wuhan where COVID began. So we basically escaped from there quickly. Went back to the UK, and that's when I did the Reddit, started writing and answering questions and writing the book, and then soon after started the YouTube. So I stayed with the YouTube, but I continued to live in Korea after that and still continue to do the weekly videos. Uh, yeah. And then after that, um, we moved to Canada. We moved back to the UK for a while, then moved back to Canada. Yeah. Lived in Guatemala for a bit, and here we are in the Philippines now. Yes.
And why Philippines? Just
Uh,
felt.
well, my wife is Filipino. My mother is
Ah,
Filipino, so I have family.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of family things happened, so I came here to the Philippines, and then yeah, just ended up staying. Yeah,
Okay.
and
I was searching
and I
about Philippines because I knew nothing and I know nothing about Philippines, but I saw it was a country that spoke Spanish. So I
yeah,
was curious
yeah,
about
quite
if you spoke English too. Sorry,
yeah.
Spanish.
Spanish, no, unfortunately, no. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to learn Filipino, but uh, I think it's like 20% of the language is Spanish because they were
Oh,
taken over by the Spaniards for a while, and also America too. So English is a main language here as well. So I think it's a really a great opportunity, a great place for Gnosis to be taught too. Um, I have a friend here who's also studying and working on translating the teachings to Filipino. So yeah,
wow.
yeah.
And this group you're, I don't know, starting. It's your group. It's a bigger group. How is it?
It's just my own humble group. I'm just advertising a poster and a Facebook page, and yeah, we have
Wow.
like 40 or 50 people signed up. So yeah.
Wow. Like 50 people is starting at seeing conferences or doing practice?
In person. So they're in a couple of months they'll join, and it's all in person, and they're just being introduced. So who knows how
Wow,
many will be, but
incredible.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm quite excited for
Wow.
it. Yeah. My Gnostic
If
instructor.
someday I go to Philippines,
Mm.
I will visit you.
Absolutely.
Surely.
Actually, my vision here is to eventually, hopefully, have a retreat center here where people can stay for a couple of weeks, a month to just, get out from the world and practice and go back to the world and hopefully be changed a little bit. So yeah, hopefully we have a Gnostic retreat center kind of place here one day.
Wow,
So
incredible.
yeah. Yeah. My Gnostic instructor
Wonderful.
many years ago, when I was like 22, he told me that, Gene, one day you're going to help a lot of people and you're going to help, uh, bring Gnosis to the Philippines. And I didn't believe him at all. But here I am today doing what he says.
Okay, so I have some questions about the astral, and I think they would be very happy to know it.
Yeah.
So they ask, is it possible to astral travel in a stable manner without having built the solar astral body?
Good question. Yes, I do believe so. I think that can be developed with, let's say, the lunar body, that the solar body isn't developed. Um, Essentially, that's what modern psychology would call lucid dreaming, where we can
Sure.
train our awareness to be aware within the dream for a long time. Um, so. not generally, it's debatable because the consciousness is still relatively asleep, submerged in its own dream environment. But yeah, we can definitely have prolonged experiences without the solar bodies. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Could you expand on the relationship between astral travel and the vital body?
Astral travel and the vital body. Well, that links, I would say, links to what was just said, which the vital body, and kind of easier to explain because these are coming from Gnostics, but it's the work in Yesod. And when we're starting the sexual transmutation, we're actually sort of battling for our soul within Yesod. So and that's the Yesod is related to the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is related to time of birth and death, the vital body having a beginning and an end. So it's within that sort of vital world, which is essentially related to our dream lunar body. And that's the fiery forge of the Vulcan, where we can forge the solar body, right? That's generally my understanding. Feel free also to, if you have any insights on it. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he or she is wants to know something about the genus. I don't know. Maybe
Genus. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
because the genus is the phenomenon when we enters the fourth dimension. So I don't know
The
if
gin state.
yes, the gene
Ah,
state.
fourth vertical. Yeah. Like the fourth vertical too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, it's well, how I see it is the fourth. So you have the vital body. Yes, that's related to the fourth vertical, but it depends what kind of vitality are we connected to? Are we connected to our lunar unconscious dream world, or is that vital body being now connected to an objective solar reality where we can enter really that that objective Jinn state, which Master Samael points to? Yeah. But of course, if
Yes.
we're asleep with ego, the vital body is not developed in a solar way, then uh, we're not utilizing that, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. After we are going to see if they like or not the answer.
Yes, yes.
uh,
Yeah.
what does lust do to the vital body? It's
Okay.
related.
Quite, yeah. I mean, quite straightforward, right? In its heights, of course, we're talking about the climax. We're talking about the orgasm, talking about the depletion of it. Um, if we want to go deeper, we can observe that when lust enters the mind, that gratification, that desire, the vitality from the being is already being depleted. We're already losing vast amount of energy from the time that lust is already entering our psyche. And of course, if that continues, which it will, because as long as we are attached to it and identified with it, it will concentrate and descend, and uh, we we just don't succeed in transmutation because we're essentially falling until we muster some force to raise it back up. But yeah, it demagnetizes everything, right? Yeah.
Yes. Sure. Okay. Fourth one. How could we more efficiently get to understand lust? More psychological question.
Yeah, I think That's related. I think that a good way to understand that is looking at the other sins, let's say, greed, laziness, mm, pride, and all of these other defects. Those are the major ones, but we might also have quite personal ones. I think through a lot of meditation, we can see that these lower defects, although they really have a lot of power to, have in their essence the same, a very similar nature to lust. Or we can also say the same, in the sense that there is a negative emotion in us, and it has an addictive quality. And it has a sensation, feeling in the body that we we can't let go of, and it continues there until the ego has been satisfied, as we keep feeling it, and we're not detaching from it. We don't have any self-observation, no presence, and it keeps leaking and leaking our energy. And in the same way, I feel, at least personally, that the other six sins usually relate to this most unchaste sin, which is lust. You know, I think that if we start cleaning our life, right, if we start walking the path, we start to do all the practices, we can find that lust itself will become a lot easier to manage if we start to also clean the other parts too. Because you could be perfectly chaste with sexual transmutation. You could be progressing in white tantra very well, but then what if you have a lot of anger one day? You dwell on that anger for, let's say, a few days, and then the pain becomes unbearable, and you start to find a way to gratify oneself, to find some kind of escapism from that negativity and the negative emotion. And of course, a very quick way for the ego to start to feel better is through pleasure, because when there's so much pain, the ego wants so much pleasure, and that relates to the law of the pendulum too, right? Being attached to this pain, pleasure. So it all relates to the center of gravity that Master Samael talks about, and getting in touch with that, getting in touch with deep meditation, really learning to observe oneself without any judgment, and yeah, really starting to understand oneself without any of the judgment, the guilt, the stories we tell ourselves in our head, and yeah, and find that commitment to walk the path, to really want to know oneself. Yeah. Mhm.
Sure. I'm really look. I have an impression. I'm really surprised of your understanding of the teaching, because you were just these 5 years you told in this group, and then you went alone. You was just by yourself, and you kept practicing the doctrine, practicing the alchemy, practicing the psychological death, everything. I can see it. It's you can see when someone is living what he's teaching.
Yeah.
And you don't miss the practices in the second chamber.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm making a group now. I miss it dearly. It's something, of course, that has touched my whole being, my soul, my heart, everything. I miss it very dearly. Yes. So,
And
you know, I don't really share to people that I've not I left a group or anything. As I said, it was a very personal choice, and something that I felt, so you could call it karmic or whatever, but Yeah, it was my own
Comic,
choice.
sorry.
Karmic, karmic.
Okay.
Maybe my accent.
Um,
So yeah, I miss it dearly, definitely.
sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that's because I was wondering why did you quit? Like you just felt this calling to meditation to be alone, but it was not a bad experience. It was not, I don't know.
Yeah. How can it's not something I've sort of talked so much about, tried to put it into words, but there's ego there, of course, very strong ego in the sense that I am identifying very strongly as a Gnostic, identifying very strongly as a Gnostic missionary, doing all of this, and that's not bad, but I think I just think that mm, personally, my meditation required me to just be deep in the sense that I want to be free from all labels. And that could also be another ego. But I, I felt very strongly attached to it all too. And it's like challenging myself too. It's like asking the question, and I think it's good for all Gnostics to meditate and reflect on. Would I still be firm on the path? Would I still have a strong connection to divinity if I didn't have my group and if I didn't have second chamber or a temple? It's absolutely not a message to leave any of that behind because it's good. It's good for you, it's good for humanity, but it's something good to reflect on that would I still be? And if not, why? And can we still retain this strong connection to divinity even at death? Because I've not died yet, at least in this life, but I believe that when we die and we come to that time, and particularly, of course, inner death, psychological death, we do have to let go of everything, of our relationships, our schools, our instructors, everyone we love, our teachings. There's that the void, right? The illuminating void that we have to connect to. And I would say that void doesn't feel so light in the beginning because it can be painful to release all attachments. I'm not saying that I have released all attachments and I'm Buddha or anything, but first we have to really we need the strength to process all that in order to see the void as something illuminating. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Sure.
Yeah.
And Master Samael, I don't know which books there's in English. It maybe all of them. I don't know.
Mm.
Um, of Master Samael, but for example, in the Zodiac course, the master begins in the preface. He says exactly that. He says this preface is perfect in this sense that we must not be attached to anything, any
Right.
school, anything. So he makes a like a this commandment to be free, the master.
Right. Right. And so, like I said, 18 to 19, I had my own freedom of trying to find the truth. And then I went into Gnosis, and suddenly there was a lot of difficulty to look at my ego, and I really took all that on. But after a while, I did feel myself so attached. Just as Master Samael said, I really recognized in a really real way that I was extremely attached to it. So that's part
Really?
of the reason for
So
my,
okay.
yeah,
So it's like you saw that you were attached to, I don't know, to people, to the group, to
yeah,
something like that.
yes, yes, absolutely.
And there wasn't any
Yeah.
master at the time. Like Master Litelantes had already gone. Uh,
No, Yeah, yes, I'd already gone. It was only me and my Gnostic instructor and the members uh that were part of that too.
So, and you keep contact with them.
Yes, yes, especially my instructor, yes, but
Okay.
not so much. Yeah, he's doing his own thing in America. Yeah,
Okay. Wow. So, okay, and let's change a little. And
yeah.
what do you think about the groups we have today, nowadays in the Gnosis? Do you know any other groups or the activities they are doing? I don't know.
Yeah, I have quite a few contacts, quite a few friends who are part of several groups. The one that you're part of, I think Gnostic Society, the Lakshmi one, right? Glorian. I actually attended a Glorian retreat last year too, so that was
Oh,
quite
look.
nice. And I have
Where
a
was
few
it?
friends part of that in New York.
Ah, look at that.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, so I don't have, let's say, a particular opinion about Gnostic groups. I love them all. I think they're all amazing in their own way, usually. I think some people, I've heard some rumors about some Gnostic groups of doing certain things, but I've never come across any group that I've seen as insincere or fanatical or something. Everyone is doing the best that they can, the best service that they can. So
Sure.
yeah, yeah, I think they're all great. I've never seen anyone saying that one is better than the other or anything like this. So yeah,
Sure. You are
yeah,
privileged because
right.
the experience I had in Brazil, I knew the Gnosis in a group with a group. Uh, they were like, we are the right ones, and who's outside is in the abyss. So, but it's
Ego and
okay.
identification with being a Gnostic and all of this. The reasons
Yes.
why I sort of left
Yeah.
in my own mind. Yeah. But it's more intense there, right? In Brazil and Mexico and places like that, because there's a lot of groups.
And the groups we
Yeah.
have here, they are more like this vibration. Like it's more easily to find a Gnostic that vibrates with this than a Gnostic that is more open minded. So
Right.
here,
Right.
like as a surprise for us, we live 100 kilometers from Fernando Salazar Bañol. Do you know him? Have you ever heard about him?
I think
I think he was the closest disciple, or the last closest disciple of Master Samael. He
okay.
arranged all the funeral of Master Samael. He wrote a book called "In the Heart of the Master." It's a great book. If you didn't read it, read it. It's perfect. It's
Okay. Is there an English version of that one?
yes. I don't know if there is in English.
Okay.
Must be it.
In the heart of the master.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a very great book, and we meet with him time to time, and well, it's people that are open-minded. They think differently about Gnosis, about the groups, about the institutions, and maybe your point of view is more openly because you're outside this atmosphere. And what do you think about the masters in all the world outside? Like, because we have, for example, master the others. I mean, like Garga Cuichines, Rabolu. We had nowadays we have this the master Quen Cancu. I don't know. What do you think about them?
Yeah. I've had certain experiences with some. Um, uh,
Oh, look at that.
yeah. So yes. And Master Rabalu, that was actually the first Gnostic book I read because I was only like 12 or 13. And when I was 20 and I realized, oh, I found the Gnostic teachings, of that
Was it
book that I
Ercolobus?
Yes, Hercules, yeah. Had
I was
many,
at the same case.
right. Had many dreams when I was young and like was totally, yeah, fascinated with it. Um, as for te I think masters today, I don't know so much about them. I think I've only really looked into or watched or learned from Quen Canku, right? Yeah, I think he's wonderful. But I don't know so many. Um, yeah, I've not looked into other ones so much.
Okay. Yes, I ask because there's a paradox in the self-knowledge because there wasn't in history. I don't know if you think like that, but in my reflections, in my understanding, there wasn't in history any master that became a master that awakened without a guidance. I don't know, even Jesus, that was the greatest of all. He had these, not just John the Baptist, but Master Samael told that he has the angel Aroch. He's his guru of Jesus. But all the masters had a guidance because the paradox is if we are blinded, we cannot see, and we can meditate, we can awaken our conscience, we can reach to know our own self, but sometimes it has like a fog. It's not perfectly clear. So, what to do, the choices we must make, etc. And then Master tells about this mystery of the Guru. For example, the Pisti Sophia, there's a chapter that Master Samael talks about the Guru. He's speaking about the mystery of Saint Thomas. And he says that the mystery of Thomas is we must just believe in our internal Christ. We must just confide in our internal Christ. But until we are completely integrated with this internal Christ, we must trust plainly in our guru. So there are people who has the guru in the physical body, and the others one are going to have in the astral body, but we must have this guru. And what do you think about it? Because I think it's a really important question in the Gnostic path.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Definitely. I agree. There is a truth to that. And also, for example, there is sort of I think a negative truth, or the truth can be distorted into a sort of dogma too, because, for example, on my channel, I've had many people from India really preach that don't do any of this, that you need a guru, you need a master, you need to follow someone like that, right? You can't do any of it. Astral travel, nothing. And of course, if you go to India, there are a lot of fake gurus and masters, and one can get very lost if you only rely and follow someone blindly too, right? So there's that negative aspect also. And of course, as Master Samael, so on the other end of that, as Master Samael also taught, follow your own being. Don't follow me. Don't follow Master Samael. Follow your own being, right? So I think that at we need to have this sort of sense of where we are on the path. If we are a beginner, if we recognize our own ignorance and that how lost we are and that we really don't know which way to go, yes, it would be definitely wise to not a guru of what you're talking about, but a teacher, an instructor, right? Follow the instructions, study. You are sort of taking on guidance from a master. But I think what you're pointing to is something quite deep, quite elevated, in the sense that, yeah, if you really want to sort of be initiated internally in the most real sense, there is going to be a discernible force that is going to really hold your hand through that. And I believe that is, yeah, definitely, yeah, it's a reality. It's a truth. Yeah, I can't say anything against it. Yeah.
Are you hearing me? Sorry, you freeze.
There you go. You're back.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
I lost my connection, maybe. Oh, my connection is unstable. It is here.
Okay. It
Okay,
could be
so
me too. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's because it's too strong matter, so the resistance begins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah. Yeah. There is, there is, it's not something, yeah, it's not something that I've ever said. You know, this is a appropriate time, you know, just to say that, but it's not something that I would teach in the format, let's say, of my YouTube channel, because I think that's just, it's something, as I said, it's something very deep. Uh, that, and also it's something that I believe happens when it's the right time. Uh, when we're really making those sincere efforts and practicing and walking the path, uh, doing everything, someone or something will come into someone's life. And that has happened with, yeah, a lot of people I know that are either part of groups or not part of groups. They've usually met someone that has impacted them, or they have just this very close, untouchable relationship that is just really, yeah, beautiful.
yes, I see it like that because reflecting about all of that, maybe we always have some kind of master. Because, for example, you, I think I see it like this, that you are maybe some kind of master of the people that follows you because they want
Right.
to see what you are going to talk about, some matters. Maybe people are waiting for the next video. No, I want to know, and they make the questions and you answer them and all of that. So if we understand it positively, if we understand it correctly, not fanatically, not blindly, maybe we can have this positive guiding. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That divinity guides us to the right people. It's like we get assigned, you know, even on our digital computers with there's God acting somewhere, you know, that just the impulse to click a certain thumbnail, reach out to
Yeah.
someone. It all works very intricately and beautifully. Yeah.
I'm really curious if I'm going to Philippines someday.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so. Let's see.
Look, if
Yeah.
you come to Brazil, I don't know, it can happen some miracles. We know it can happen anytime. But if you come to
Yeah.
Brazil, come visit me if you can. I don't know if you
Yes.
can, if you want. Let me see. Okay, I have maybe I must make some questions more, two or three. If you,
Sure.
I don't know if you are tired, maybe it's too late there.
No, no, it's okay. I'm a spiritual master. I can stay awake forever. No, it's okay.
Okay.
Feel free. Yeah.
Okay. The other one. How much time did you have to practice the key of soul in order to actually astral project?
Difficult one for me because I already started having astral projection experiences when I was 18. That's really the whole path of or why I sort of awakened or started walking the path so intensely, because uh, that is something that I really wanted to achieve. So at 18, I watched the movie Inception. Not sure if
Mhm.
you've seen it, right? I love the idea because at the time, being my young self with full of ego and problems and difficulties and being let's say a rebellious teenager, uh, what offered a nice escape from reality is lucid dreaming. And I found that I was quite good at that. Over time, I found that it wasn't enough. Uh, and I started to understand that when I wake up with my waking consciousness, the things that I see around me is also still a dream. I started to recognize this dream state. So that's when I started to find out about astral projection. And I picked up a very old book on astral projection, started reading that. And I wouldn't say that I practice any particular technique to have that. I remember just one time praying really sincerely. I was raised a Catholic by my mother, she has a very strong faith, and she always taught me how to pray. So I really prayed for that. And I believe to this day that my being just gave me that experience, a very powerful, vivid, tangible experience, which changed my life and the course of my life afterwards. So my point of saying that story is, yes, we should do practices, key of soul. We should remember ourselves and be absolutely aware, right? But there is an aspect of astral projection that is related to our relationship with our being. And when we're given those very conscious experiences, it's for a reason, usually. And, astral projection and any kind of mystical experience isn't a mechanical thing. It's not that our own ego, it's not that we do it. It's not that our ego makes it happen, right? It's sort of a grace, and we're dissolving ourselves to allow something to come to us. So yeah, that's what I feel to say in relation to that question.
Sure.
But yeah, Key of Soul has helped me greatly. It's one of my favorite practices, and I've made quite a few videos on that. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever read Uspensky?
Only a little bit. Only a little bit. Yeah.
Which book?
In Search of the Miraculous.
There's in some books, I think it's Psychology of the Possible Evolution of Man. He says that we must do the basic down here, and then we open the opportunity to our being give the grace. I think it's
Right.
something like that, because
Yeah.
for example, if we don't control the three main centers, the intellectual, the emotional, and the motor, if we don't have them equilibrated, then we don't allow the superior emotional center to manifest. So
Right.
it's something
Right.
like this.
Well, I didn't know about the Key of Soul back then when I started to have these astral experiences. But in a way, I was actually already practicing that because I didn't have a job. I wasn't going to university. I remember basically living like a Buddhist monk in a temple. And I would really live my life, so try to be as conscious and present as possible. I read uh the book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, to be absolutely
Okay,
present, right? And
sure.
I based a lot off that too. And what my day would look like would be even just moving my hand so consciously, not without moving anything, and questioning where I am all the time. So yeah, that you could say it was a form of Kiev Soul. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Other one. Did you have any addictions? How did you manage to eliminate them?
Addictions. Well, in a way, we're all addicted to our ego in some way. I would say that any ego that arises in the mind is a form of addiction. I think that all physical addictions begin with mental addiction. So even, for example, when someone is smoking, I used to smoke, so that's an example.
Oh,
Even when I was, yeah, quite young, around 18 at that time. Um, so if we're smoking, even before we have a cigarette, we start thinking about it. And so
okay.
that's really where the real addiction comes in for me. That it's the ability, we have to develop this daily commitment to meditation and understand the value of not being a puppet under strings, right? And really becoming aware of the thoughts that are coming into our head. Because as we know, our thoughts, we don't think our own thoughts. And when we really realize that, we can really see that some kind of energy is putting our thoughts into our head. And if we're not conscious, if we're not aware, then everything comes down into the different dimensions, right? it goes into the mental, you think about it, then there's an emotional charge, the emotions happen, then it goes into the body, and it, you know, by that time we're already walking down the street, going to smoke a pack of cigarettes and everything. So yeah, definitely the meditation is the best thing, the best supplement, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. How best to approach family affairs while on the Gnostic path, since it applies others accepting one's own chastity and probably never having children? Well, there's a point. What reactions did you have on the matter, and how did you and your wife deal with them?
Yeah. I can't say I dealt with it in the best way possible in the beginning, because people people would ask me a lot of questions and I would tell them, and they would ask, oh, is it a cult or something then? And I would react negatively, like, no, it's not a cult. And um, I think I think it comes down to a lot of sincerity, um, learning how to express ourselves honestly. So, and yeah, being honest and sincere about our interest, about what we want. I think that comes with a certain level of self-respect too. I think that when we express ourselves with self-respect, honesty, sincerity, I think that will come across usually to the other person better. They can see that, oh, it's a good thing, or at least no negative reaction. Um, I think that if we, and this is sort of a sort of common problem with Gnosis in a way, is that yes, we think of ourselves as our ego can think of ourselves as quite different from humanity, when of course we're not. Actually, if we walk the path properly, we're becoming more like humanity. We're seeing that the whole of humanity is within us, right? Um, I th and I say that because if we express to others and loved ones about Gnosis in a way that we already think that they're going to react negatively, then most likely they will, because we might be expressing ourselves from, it's just some kind of fear, some kind of insecurity, of expressing it. So I think that the best thing is
To be
honesty,
sincere.
be sincere, and compassionate too, that just be considerate of what they might think. I don't think you have to overshare everything too. Of course, you have to share, for example, White Tantra with your partner, but other than that, you don't need to share so much personal things. It's also good to have, like, let's say, healthy boundaries with people, and yeah, yeah. But it's not easy. Yeah.
Sure. It's so personal too.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
depends on how much the person, I don't know, wants to share, or if it's the one, the other person is the one, because today we have this
Right.
liquid society. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not the right person and you just want to talk. And okay, that was the questions of the Romanians.
Okay.
Look, I have lots of questions that I was accumulating. I don't want to make this just aleatory. I just want to talk to know you. I really like to talk to you. Like, I feel that you are a missionary by heart, like by vocation,
Yeah.
and I feel the same. Look, I've studied philosophy too, and I studied philosophy because I was searching for the truth. I was searching for the meaning of life, and on this time I was 20. It's like a little close story.
Yeah.
I am 33
How old
now.
are you now? Ah, that's free. Okay.
33, yeah. I searched for astral projection too. When I was 14, I was searching for astral projection and I started, and my family is very religious too. They are Catholic. I was very Catholic in my childhood, but my father was like, I don't know how to explain this. He was like a dream interpreter.
Ah,
He
okay.
people came to
Psychological.
him. No, not he's not. He's very simple. He has
Okay.
the fourth grade on school.
Ah,
But he knew how to interpret the dreams. And people
mm,
came to him and said, "Oh, I dreamed about this thing," and he said, "No, this means it was going to happen this thing to you."
mm,
So I was in my childhood. I had these things, and then I knew a friend. He taught me how to astral projection. Like he was telling you, you must record everything. So I started to make notes about my dreamings, and then started have some experiences. But it was just a few, and I trained with him telepathy. So he was always joking, like, "Okay, what I'm thinking," and it was very nice because it functions. So
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
it's real, no? And
Mm.
I went to philosophy because I wanted to understand the meaning of life, and then I didn't on
Yeah,
philosophy.
me too. I wasn't satisfied, especially Western philosophy. Yeah.
Yes. And what did you read on your course? Plato,
Yeah,
Aristotle?
yeah, all ancient Greeks, the French philosophers, but I was a bad student.
Oh yeah.
I actually first got denied to my course.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so I emailed them asking why, and they said because in your application you said that you were mostly interested in Eastern philosophy. So I replied, they only do Western. So I replied to them with a long argument, basically saying that philosophy is philosophy. It's all about logic and you can't see the difference. So they liked it and I got accepted.
Oh, okay.
But
Wow.
I can't say I liked the whole course, of course, because Western philosophy is very, there's a lot of intellectualism compared
Yeah.
to the
It's
Eastern still.
closed
So,
to
yeah,
rational.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
In my course, they were like modern. They like it too much of modern philosophy. So I had to study a lot of Descartes, a lot of
Yeah,
Kant, a lot of Nietzsche, Heidegger, etc.
yeah.
And they were very rational. And then I knew the Gnosis when I was in the third grade, the third year,
Ah, okay.
and it was for and it happened because I had an experience. It was very interesting because sorry, I didn't want to talk about me, but I
No,
think
no, no.
it's interesting. I
Yeah,
really like it to talk to you.
yeah, yeah.
I would like to have this talking more time if you want to. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure. No, no, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And I had an experience. It was very, very, for me, it was very interesting. And I don't know how to explain this because all the time when someone asks to me, I don't know how to explain because uh, it was not a vision. I didn't
Mm,
see it, but I felt it. It's very strongly that I was searching the truth and the meaning of life by reason,
mm,
rationally. And in some point, I just realized I was searching rationally, and I was like wanting to the truth to be in the reason.
mm,
And I like just saw all the things that reason could give me like in a sphere, but truth was inside and outside the sphere, you know. And
right.
when I realized that, I thought, oh no, I'm searching with the reason, but the reason is not, it doesn't abound the truth. So I must go to the unrational things. And then I started to study. I thought, what is the most irrational thing? And here in Brazil, we have a religion that is very, to me, it was very strange, that it's some Umbanda. Have you ever heard about it? Candomblé, maybe.
No.
It's an African religion. It came here to Brazil because of the slaves, the Nigger slaves. I don't know if I can speak this word in English. In Portuguese, it's normal. Okay, but it came, and they like have a cult to the magical spirits. So they are like mediums. Okay, it's something like this. For example, the most irrational thing to me was that they kill chicken, put it in a bowl with powder, and make a pray in a cross street, and ask like, I want this person to like me, and then it happens. It's like black magic, but it's but the point is that it was the most irrational thing I could think. And then I thought, okay, so I must study magic, all kinds of magic. And then I started, and when I studied magic, lots of books, Blavatsky, all of them, and I discovered all of them was telling two things: that the truth, the sex was the most powerful magic energy of the world, and the second one is that we just tell to the people that enters our group, our the selected one, the esoteric. And then I started to enter all the esoteric groups that I knew, like Rosicrucians, Thelema, Otto, everything that I could. Even how is it, the spirits, the spiritualists, all of them, Catholics. I went to everything, and I was living in a too small city. It didn't have too much, and then I remembered I saw these things that was written Gnosis, and then I went, and then I knew the Gnosis. It was this strange group that were all fanatics. I became a fanatic too, because I was okay, so this is the Gnosis. But then I went to it was very interesting, because I made the missionary course in Venezuela. I went there, and I knew this temple of Master Lakshmi that he built. It was an order of Master Samael. He asked him to build this, and he built, and it was a great institution. Maybe it was the biggest institution of the world of Gnosis, maybe. But people were too fanatic, and then in some I was like 3 years in this institution, and then I didn't mean to talk all of this, okay? But,
no, it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, and I don't remember why I was telling you my story. Oh, it was because of philosophy. And I made my master in Uspensky about the fourth dimension, and how to think Westernly philosophy, the Gnostic philosophy with the philosophers. So it was like Kant and all of these things, but it was a theater. I didn't want to talk about it. It was for studying.
No, it's interesting to see the correlations throughout our life and our path. Yeah.
Well, okay, we don't need to be here for the eternity, as you said, but we must finish it in anyway. So there was one person that asked me to ask you to give a message for the seekers of truth, if you can. Maybe if we put this on YouTube, if we put this on YouTube, maybe a message. So what would you say to people who are seeking the truth, or seeking the meaning of life, or the Gnosis?
Yeah. It's like, not to sound discouraging, but if you're really walking the path, internal challenges will come. And they can be as difficult as more difficult than your imagination can make out to. Can be really difficult. And sure, we call that karma too, right? And everyone has that in humanity. But the difference is we want to process that karma, right? We really want to awaken from and liberate from the chains. And I think it's really difficult. I think a lot of people also leave uh, groups and just get consumed by life for those reasons. I think one of the most important things is that no matter how difficult things get, no matter how deep you think that your mistakes are, as long as you have this perseverance and this faith that you are committed to the light and to the truth, um, your perseverance is what matters, and not to fall into any sort of despair. And I think that's something that I've come to sort of understand in myself too, that usually we say that lust and the seven sins are the greatest sins. But there's one very tricky sin, I would say, that leads us to that in the first place. And I think it's despair, because it's that feeling of this doubt, of despair of oneself, of this sadness or guilt that kind of traps us into that in the first place. So I think unbending faith and perseverance and commitment to divinity, no matter whatever time of day it is, whether we're in a group or the missile or listening to any instructor or listening to astral doorway videos, as long as you maintain that very personal connection to oneself, one's being and divinity, I don't think that we can go too wrong. I think we have a good chance of finding what's real. Yeah. So that's what comes to me.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So Gene Hart, it was a very special to me to have this talking.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you like it as I like
Yeah,
it.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you. Sort of related to our conversation, I am always just a little bit cautious, and when Gnostics or instructors message me, I'm like, okay, hopefully it's it's all
Oh,
okay. But
why?
um, as you said, there are some groups that are,
Okay.
this way, it should be this way, or I'm better than this, or you know, like you said, I'm open-minded too. If I say something and they have a strong reaction, then there can't be much progress. But I've really enjoyed it, and I can see that you're just one of the very you're on the real, the path, and just uh full of sincerity. And yeah, you weren't like me at 25 being so attached and fascinated and fanatical with the teachings, basically. So it's a breath of fresh air for me. So, and to make a new friendship like that. So, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, and I am not I'm not joking. I really want to know Philippines. It's real.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. There's going to be a great Gnostic Lumicial, maybe on an island somewhere. That would be amazing.
Wow.
We'll
Wow,
see. We'll
imagine
see.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
Gene,
right.
a big hug. In Portuguese, we say a big hug to say ciao,
Hey,
bye bye,
ciao.
and send it our regards to your wife and your son that's coming. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Son, how did you know it? Did I say it was a son?
No, you said she was pregnant.
Oh, okay. But you said son, no?
Yes.
Oh, it is a son. So
Okay. A 50-50.
uh,
It's not so hard.
okay.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
All right. Thank you so much.